wow, that is literally an insect that's landed on the lens camera. Jesus. Definitely not being cut out. Definitely not being cut out.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry.
Welcome to the McInnes Marketing Minute, guys. Coming at you this week live from Stanley Park, Prospect Point, for all you lovers out there.
It's a beautiful day.
You are freezing, huh? Stop doing that weird thing with your hands.
Okay, let's go.
How many complaints we got last time?
Fine.
Welcome, guys. Today we're actually gonna have a talk about how to price your home effectively. Keyword effectively. There's a lot of, I think, misperceptions in the market right now, if you could say.
Miscommunication between agents and sellers, I think, is realistic.
Yeah, and when you're trying to sell your home, I think it's obvious, and if the question isn't coming across your mind, it should be, you know, how much is my place worth? But it's actually taking those tangible items that make up the value of your home and making sense of it.
Yeah, and using your realtor, obviously, and trusting your realtor and trusting the information that they're providing you, that you need to approach the market, say, conservatively now, as the market has obviously changed, just because we've seen the top at this point and we're slightly below it. Obviously, the pricing at the top is no longer attainable, so we need to be realistic. If you actually want to sell your home, listening to your agent, looking at that data that they're providing, and building a strategy based on those facts.
I think keyword there is being realistic. Like, we're going to go through some points which basically explains to you how an agent goes through pricing your home. It's going to be a high level view, so it's definitely not going to be a you can do this yourself and replace your agent type of thing. That's not what we're saying, but it's just so you as a seller know what process we go through when it comes to selling your home. As, to be honest, the brunt of it is we want it to be worth as much as possible too. So if it was worth that, we'll be telling you it's worth that. So I mean, jumping into it without any further ado, most importantly, step one, sales.
Yeah, so past sales and what the market has actually absorbed within a realistic time frame. So what has similar units sold at, how long did it take, and how long ago was that? And those are the facts that your agent is going to take to your potential buyer's agent when a buyer comes in with their own representation saying, we respect your offer at this price, but we're worth more because of these comparable sales. These are the facts of the market, not what other properties may be listed at currently, but the facts of the market.
And more so than ever, the difference between a sale price and an active price is huge in this market right now. What things are actually... It's a Vulcan plane.
What things are actually...
What homes are actually selling for versus what they're listed for couldn't be more different than we are in today's market. If there is a unit in your building that is pretty much identical to yours or very similar, it could be a few floors down, but there's the same sort of view, there's not been any renovations at all. If it's sold for $500,000, that's public information. So if you list yours for $600,000 because you think it's worth that, anyone who's looking to put an offer on that, they're going to be able to see that one pretty much identical sold for $500,000. And in this current market, they're not even going to entertain lowballing. There's so much to pick from, they'll just move onwards elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's going to be the first step of any agent that's representing that buyer to do, either even before they view the unit to see how realistic you are listed at, or once they find a unit they like, go back in the history of the building, as Ben said, which is all public, at least to the agents, much easier, and see, okay, what has this building achieved? How long ago was that? How realistic is this list price? So you can't pull the wool over anyone's eyes, not that anyone's literally trying to do that, but just putting a high number there doesn't mean you're going to achieve it, which is a lot different than the prior market that we have just come out of. The exact opposite, really.
So step two is actives, so active listings. Nowadays, it's really, really common to see competition within your own building, not just the surrounding area. So there's usually a pretty good gauge of a fair market value of where your price should stand. Again, looking at actives, just because something has been listed for a crazy high price doesn't mean that it's sold, and it doesn't mean that it's going to get bought at that price. Just be careful and cautious in seeing something on the market which is overpriced and thinking, oh great, that's the value of my home now. It's an important part, and it's something that we look at as realtors. You know, you've got to compare what your unit is going to go on the market for and what kind of competition it's going to come up against in order to get it sold. Of course, taking into parameters like same sort of square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, views, those kind of things. But actives do play an important part, but they are not the be-all and end-all of where your listing price should be.
They're more of a climate of what you're entering into. So if there's 5 units in your building, you're a 1-bedroom, they're all 1-bedrooms, you're all relatively the same size, and they're in a $50,000 range, and the days on market are high or mounting. That's a pretty black and white, clear sign that you need to be attracting the market and going under where the rest of that cluster is, or you're just slotting yourself right in the middle and hoping like the other ones are. So you can really use that as a climate to the market of where to actively enter the market to be attractive to the market.
I'm just going to do a separate video of your hand movements when you talk.
That's freezing.
It's literally like Charlie Chaplin music. Okay, being prepared is not a negative thing.
Point 3.
Third and final is, of course, there are going to be slight changes based on square footage, renovations, and such as well. I think the key thing here is if you've done a renovation or you've made some changes, again, bringing it back to that key R word, being realistic. If you've repainted the place, your home isn't worth $50,000 more. If you've put in hardwood flooring, it's not going to add $100,000 to your home. Yes, they do make a difference, but it's very easy when you're trying to sell your home and when you want to get as much money as possible, which is understandable, in escalating those numbers. And I think when you say them to yourself and you escalate them to yourself, you kind of almost like write it in stone in your mind that that's what it should be worth.
Based on what you paid.
Yeah, and that's not always the case, especially in this market. Otherwise, like Jay said, you're going to sit in there with the rest of the competition, which isn't moving and keep losing equity.
Yeah, and it's, from my experience, what we see a lot in that is people have paid for a reno, they've got a price that they want, they've got an assumed number. If I spent X amount on a renovation, I want that return plus some for doing the work. And that's great, especially when the market's escalating. But you have to understand that a lot of the time, especially in this climate of the market, people may not be willing to actually pay more for the reno. It has a value, but a lot of the times it's a curb appeal value, meaning, yeah, you may have done this or that in the unit or everything, and that's fine, and there's definitely a value to doing that. But again, if you're just going to slide in and they have a complete option, and there's only so much that any given buyer right now is willing to pay for your 610 square feet, even if you're renoed, because you're renoed, you may be the one that gets the offer, even if it's not at a price that is ideal for you, but it's given the market that curb appeal to actually get your property the offer. So, as Ben said, a lot of people have the reno cost in stone in their head because that's new money they've sometimes recently put in and want that lift over what the competition is selling for, and it definitely doesn't always work when the market has as many options as they do right now. So keep that in mind, that it's not just a dollar for dollar. A lot of the time now it's very much just curb appeal.
Mm-hmm. And it's just be smart about a few things as well. So a lot of people are, oh wow, that is literally an insect that's landed on the lens camera. Jesus. Definitely not being cut out. Definitely not being cut out. But it's about being realistic as well. Like if you're in a 610 square foot, 1-bedroom condo, and you're in a great catchment area for a high school, that's great, but the reality of it is, more than likely, it's not going to be a family with a teenage child who is going to live there, and hence why that's not going to make, if any, difference to the value of your home. You have a lot of face to save after this. You have a lot of face to save.
I'm done.
We're done? Okay. Guys, we're done for the day. It's starting to rain here as well, so perfect timing. Please do subscribe, follow us on all of our social media channels, write reviews and comments. It's awesome when you do. We love you for it. I am Real Benjamin Robinson on Instagram.
I am Jay McInnes, and subscribe please, comments please, and anything you want us to discuss or elaborate on, fill the comments up, and we're more than happy we read those right away and try and get back to you as soon as possible and get your feedback on everything. So we appreciate it, and we're listening.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry.